All right. What's up, everyone? I'm Jonny Roven, an attorney, and today I'm going to be discussing with my brother, Ian Roven, about impeachment and Trump impeachment. So, Ian, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm also an attorney, a little bit different type. My practice is strictly transactional, um, and I am Jonny Roven's younger brother, and we just have an affinity for the law, I suppose. I don't know how we both took this path, but it's the way it goes. And now we get to talk about impeachment. So exciting!
It's because our dad was a doctor and we didn't want to go into medicine, so that's why we
Right. You only had two choices, right?
exactly. So, Trump last night got impeached.
That's right.
And so today is December 19th. And now we're discussing, what's going on. The whole country is like kind of in a frantic mode.
Mhm.
So what I want to start off with, and actually you brought up this question, which is pretty good. So we'll just go through the steps of impeachment. So first, obviously, Congress needs to investigate.
Mhm.
And once they come up with an investigation, then the House of Representatives needs to pass by a simple majority to impeach the defendant, which in this case is the president. And after that impeachment, then technically the president is impeached, but he's still in office. And after that, then the articles of impeachment go to Senate, where they go and conduct a trial. And the Senate needs to pass by 2/3 majority to remove the elected official from office. And then only after that is the president removed from office. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. Something that's kind of exciting is that we're at the anniversary of the Clinton impeachment. It actually was today that the articles were passed over to the Senate. And what's interesting with social media and how involved everybody is now is that we're hearing a bunch of different things about House committees, how it goes to the Intel Committee, and then the Judiciary Committee, and then the Rules Committee, and you hear about these House managers that they're having to appoint. So as the House is investigating, you heard a lot about how there was Adam Schiff, and you heard about Jerry Nadler, different people who were leaders of these specific committees. And the reason why it's that way is because you start out with an investigation, right? So the House investigating committee, then it goes to the Judiciary to decide on what the articles are actually going to be, and then it goes to the Rules Committee to see exactly if those rules are going to apply, and then it goes to did I lose you first? Oh, you're here. And then it goes to the floor vote, which we saw, which lasted, I think it was like 7 hours or 8 hours, until they had, just as you said, that simple majority to get the vote to solidify the articles of impeachment and to put it on Nancy Pelosi, who is the Speaker of the House, to appoint what are called managers. And they're kind of like prosecutors in a trial. And until she appoints House managers, the articles won't go to the Senate. So that's kind of where we're at right now, is whether Nancy Pelosi is going to withhold appointment of the House managers, or whether she's going to expedite this process, which gets into the political arguments. I don't know if you want to get into those, but
Always. Well, look, so the thing is that, from my understanding, Nancy Pelosi now wants to hold on to the articles of impeachment, and like you said, not appoint managers, which just delays the trial. And she wants to do that in order to get a fair trial. So what that really means, we don't know.
her
I mean,
words.
do you have a take on what that means to have a fair trial? I mean, obviously, there's going to be rules to a trial. So for me,
Mhm.
because I do personal injury, when I go to trial, we have very long conversations with the judge about what evidence is going to go in front of a jury, what jury instructions are going to be read, what types of topics can't be discussed, things like
Mhm.
that, what witnesses are allowed to come forward. So there's a huge, those types of things can go on for weeks. And I mean, these are just small trials, not removing a president from office. So
And correct me, correct
but
me if I'm
not
wrong,
as
but
dramatic.
sometimes that's dramatic. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in personal injury trials, it's different than a traditional trial. Like business litigation, there's different rules, just like there's different rules in family court.
Sure.
And so here you have the different branches of Congress get to set the rules. So whoever has a majority they very much get to decide how these cases are going to be brought forth. And traditionally, if you're having an impeachment of any federal official, it's the vice president, who's the president of the Senate, who oversees that trial. So Mike Pence.
And the Chief Justice will be the judge overseer.
Right. No, he's actually replacing Mike Pence because we as a nation are trying the president. And so there's an obvious conflict of interest with the vice president, whether Mr. Pence wants to become president or whether he wants to protect his friend. That's another issue. So double conflict. So when you try a president or a vice president, it's the Chief Justice that oversees. So, and the Senate gets to set the rules. So on its face, right, the argument Speaker Pelosi is bringing is that she wants a fair trial. There were the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell went on television and said that essentially he's not going to be an impartial juror, which sparked a lot of resentment towards Mr. McConnell. And one of the reasons why is because right before the trial, in order to become a juror in the trial, you have to take an oath that you're going to be impartial, among other things. So on its face, that's what I believe sparked Nancy Pelosi saying she wants a fair trial. Now getting into the weeds a little bit, during the Clinton impeachment, the House passed the 2 articles of impeachment against him, one of them for perjury, right? So, and it wasn't tried
immediately, right? It was sent immediately to the Senate.
Just about, except that it was in between the 105th and 106th Congress. So actually the House that passed the articles of impeachment, it was delayed until it went to the 106th Senate. So, or 106th Congress, which included the new Senate. And that actually was one of the reasons why Newt Gingrich felt a little bit of remorse for his own party, because they felt that at the time the impeachment was going to be really, really good for Republicans. Oh my gosh, they're impeaching a Democratic president, but Bill Clinton's popularity just kept rising. So he took a gamble. This is Gingrich, former Speaker Gingrich, and more seats were flipped towards the Democrats. So actually came to bite him a little bit, which is the theory for that Republicans are bringing up now, is you're going to get a Clinton repeat, but going the other way. And it shows Trump's popularity is increasing in certain spheres. The economy is doing well.
I mean, yeah, the economy is doing well, right? So, I mean, just as looking at, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Also, job creation. But sure. One thing that's important to note is that, there's a general consensus, I think, amongst Republicans and Democrats that this impeachment is most likely to fail at trial if the articles of impeachment get sent and if trial starts today. So what do you think Nancy Pelosi means when she's saying that she wants a fair trial? And how is a delay going to help her with that?
So until she passes, I'm going to, from the outset, right? So President Trump has been impeached. When we talk about the Clinton impeachment, that's essentially what we talk about. We don't talk about really whether he was acquitted or not. We don't talk about, essentially what transpired. A lot of people don't remember Whitewater, how it was essentially 3 or 4 years investigating a land deal from before he was president. We don't talk about any of the stuff leading up to the impeachment. We talk about Clinton was impeached. People don't remember, but not too long ago, Andrew Johnson was also impeached. But what the strategy is she already got what she wanted, right? There's a stain on this president.
Kind of. I think that what she really wants and what Democrats want is actual removal from office, or at least to prevent a re-election in 2020.
And I'm going to show you how it would kind of play out in essentially January of even the following year. Ready? So essentially what this means is he's already impeached, right? She's holding on to the articles, waiting for House managers to be appointed, playing out the scenario. Let's say nothing changes. Or let's say Mitch McConnell says, unless you give me these articles in the next 4 weeks, I'm not even going to hold the trial. There's a lot of things that could happen. These things are unprecedented.
Does Mitch
real
McConnell
history.
even have the authority to do that?
Nobody knows.
Well, because Article 1 talks about Congress being able to make its own rules, or the House being able to make its own rules. So it's really, who is going to be the decider?
we're in uncharted territory, and people don't really know what's going to happen. But essentially, it's a win-win for Nancy Pelosi. She holds on to the articles until there's a fair trial, whatever she believes is fair, right?
Is there
She doesn't have to pass.
there so far? I mean, or is it just, we're
Um,
holding on to it, seeing what's going to happen?
some people are arguing that like give Biden for Mulvaney, right? So it's how many witnesses are going to be allowed and who they are. They're saying give us 4 witnesses like the Clinton trial. So either bringing it back to Clinton, there's fairness is very ambiguous at this point because so many people are lockstep with their own party. But essentially, let's say that they wait until the next election to actually pass it over to the Senate. The House, when the next Congress sits, is actually January 1st. So
Right.
let's say President Trump gets reelected in November, then the House or the new Senate sits January 1st, and I wrote down some numbers here. 23 Senate Republican seats are up, and only 12 Democratic Senate seats are up, and 3 Republicans are retiring. So if the Dems pick up 4 seats, they get to set the rules, and they get to bring in all this new evidence against President Trump if he gets reelected. If he doesn't get reelected, it changes things.
I mean,
Obviously,
if he doesn't get reelected, then there might not really be a point to a trial other than, just like to go after him. If,
right,
if he's out of
right,
office, then he's out of
right,
office. See you later.
right. So they likely won't because
Obviously people would like to see him in prison, but it's like
that's up to the Southern District of New York because apparently there's ongoing sealed investigations there for his. Anyway, I won't get into the politics of that side of things because we want to focus on impeachment. But I don't think they're going to continue to go after him if he is not reelected. Also, there's a bunch of House seats up, right? And there's 25 retiring Republicans.
Yeah, I guess that would be important too to
Yeah.
define some type of rules. But it's really up to the Senate to conduct the trial,
Right.
not the House.
Right, of course. So essentially, it boils down to once she appoints the House managers and passes those articles over, her job's done. She can't do anything.
Right.
So if she has a card to play, this would be the one to play.
So
it's her only card.
So what I want to do is kind of move on to our next topic, which is
sure.
What is going to be the future of impeachments now? I mean, if there's now we're looking at it. I mean, there's a lot of heat on the Republican side saying, look, now in the future, whenever there's a Republican House and they don't like the way a Democratic president is running things, they could just put something together, pass by simple majority. Now this president's impeached. So
truth, which by the way, is very likely to happen. It's likely. I mean, why not? It's politics, as they say. It's the same argument as to why Merrick Garland wasn't even considered. You want to wait for a new election. From Senator McConnell. So it's politics at play here. They, unfortunately, the founding fathers couldn't put everything in the Constitution, so we kind of get to play politics, I guess is what you'd say.
Yeah. I mean, it's uncharted territory. It's very interesting what's going on.
So interesting, and
we're going to see like what's going to happen. If it actually does come to a Senate trial.
That's why it's so exciting. I mean, if it doesn't come to a Senate trial, President Trump has been impeached regardless. If it does go to a Senate trial and he's acquitted, people are still going to say President Trump was impeached. It's not anything that can come off of your record. It's part of the record now.